Hi guys, welcome back to She Thinks She Knows. I'm Briyanna,
I'm Mahoro.
And I'm Damahya.
and today's episode is going to be a recap on what's been going on since we've been gone. So, how's everyone doing?
I'm good. It's been a long time and it's exciting to come back. Do you guys want to talk about like what we've been doing since we've been gone since the pandemic and everything?
Yeah.
Um, I worked over the summer. I did a remote job. I continued like a remote internship. I was working with kids and students, doing a lot of like STEM-based activities. It was my first time ever working remote, and like utilizing Zoom and things like that after that half remote semester that we had. And it was interesting. I feel like it was kind of weird for me, but it was still good to connect with people. This summer I also got into a lot of like music. Like I've been expanding my music taste. And I've been sketching. That's what I've been doing lately. And I'm trying to get back into reading. So we'll
It's
see.
like, that's a hard one. I told myself I was going to read, I don't know, 6 times since this pandemic and hasn't happened yet. So, what
It's
about
been
you?
working kind of so far, but I'll let you guys know.
Uh, at the beginning of the pandemic, throughout the summer, and even throughout now, I've been working with my dad's cafe. Mostly like towards the beginning of the pandemic. We were fortunate not to have to close, and we thought we were going to have to close. So we were happy that we didn't have to, because that would have really hurt a small business as we are. And it's been really up and down, and then like trying to balance that and remote learning. That's really been my life a lot. I've been trying to find ways to stay involved, like an active staff member slash like co-owner or whatever you want to call it, because a lot of times, when I leave and come back from school, it's like people are relying on me, and like, so I'm trying to like create a better system there. I'm trying to get things to run smoothly, and so that's been a lot of my focus. I've also been painting and like trying to sell commissions a lot more, so that's something that I've like finally embraced. Everybody's been telling me to do that for a long time, so if you need a portrait, just shoot me, message me, and I can help you out with that. What about you, Brianna?
So for me, the summer of COVID, I was lucky enough to like still have my internship. So I worked with Daniel O'Connell's sons, and the project was elementary school. There was two elementary schools in Springfield that were being combined, and I worked as an intern for their project site. So I was able to like bike back and forth from work, and it was pretty fun. Like I was in the sun a lot. Um, my tan didn't stick, but I was getting a lot of sun, so it felt kind of good being out during COVID because I was afraid that I would be stuck in the house. So that was good. And I started getting into other hobbies that I usually start and never finish. So I started doing like embroidery, which was really fun and it's like soothing and calming. And that was something that I kind of looked forward to doing outside of like Zoom University because that was a struggle for me as well. And I feel like the sort of the transition from like in class to Zoom wasn't bad, but just starting a whole semester on Zoom was just not really, it wasn't giving the same kind of energy that I was getting from the previous ending of the semester. Um, and also, I substituted being in the house a lot with like filling up my space with plants. So I'm like really into plants now and trying to make new ones and kind of making my room like a little greenhouse. So that's actually been really nice. It's kind of like therapeutic in a sense. So I feel like those are some of the big things that I've been doing and just trying to keep sane and relaxed, I guess, because honestly, I don't know how long this thing is going to last. And so I don't want to keep making it seem like the pandemic is like getting in the way of everything, but it kind of is. So, yeah. Um, but is there anything else that people want to share?
Um, Honestly, I think that like there's a lot of negatives to COVID and this pandemic, but like something that I've like, something good that I found out of the pandemic is like the ability to be able to network and to use things like LinkedIn, Zoom to my advantage. That's a lot of something else that I've been trying to do a lot. And when it comes to like professional development and meeting people in the sport industry, which I hope to work in one day, meeting them and like connecting with them. I've been working at school on a conference committee, and it's called the McCormick Sport Leaders Forum, and it's a student run group, and we put together a conference for sport management students, and we get like the top organizations to come and have representatives speak, and I'm on the sponsorship board. And so like I've been trying to embrace that and like using the skills I'm learning there through sponsorship and through networking and all these things, really trying to see how I can leverage these things in my real life and how I can take these skills and bring them to our podcast and bring these connections to places that I'm in. And so like that's been something that's been really good for me, and it gives me hope for our podcast, and it gives me like, I don't know, a breath of fresh air, thinking that like we have a new vision now, or like this virtual world has created another world for us that we didn't even think about entering. And so like in terms of this pandemic and it being a year and like being on the computer all day, like I must say that is something that like I actually enjoy, is that like, yeah, we took a break from the podcast because we didn't know what was going on.
Mhm.
And now going into things, we have a better vision, a more extensive vision, and also it's going to be better for like our listeners. Like I think a lot of us have learned, we all have learned a lot of things, and I think that we've met a lot of people and that we've been able to really experience things despite the situation that the world is in right now. And so I think that I'm the most excited to be able to bring these things that we've been experiencing to the podcast and to our listeners and to our fans. So that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah, I definitely think that this time where things are so different, it like forced us to look outside of what we're used to. And so I think that had a lot of benefits to it. And so, yeah, pretty much like what you were saying, meeting new people, like meeting people in a different way and getting creative with how we're doing things and like how we're going to promote ourselves, how we're going to connect with people. That's like, since we can't do things like this in person, it's just different now, but it's good because it's like a challenge. And with those things, like you can only get growth from it. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, kind of going right off of what Damahya was just saying, like all three of us, I think, have developed ourselves so much more and grown over the past year that like I feel like we're getting closer into our passions and our interests, and that's gonna reflect in like the voice that we can create and like what we're able to talk about. And I feel like that's gonna be so interesting for our audience, but also just ourselves to like go through the process of continuing the podcast and talking about new things.
Yeah, because it's definitely interesting. Like when we go back into our documents and that we've been planning, and when we go back and listen, or we listen to things that like didn't make it on the podcast, when we do all of that stuff from a year, 2 years ago, and we can really reflect on the amount of growth that we have, or like how undeveloped or how like surface level
Premature.
our ideas.
Yeah, prematurely.
And so I'm really excited for that. With that being said, new episode coming this Friday. And just to let you know, a brief description of that topic. As we were talking about, we've been on a hiatus. And so we're going to talk about why is it so hard to begin something you want to do, what's the struggle. And so you can look out for that on Friday. We are definitely going to be active, and we are going full-fledged with our podcast again and for this time. And so definitely be looking out for all of our Instagram stories. They're going to be things that you guys can engage with. Look out for our lives. Look out for the events that we're going to be having, because with this virtual platform, the possibilities are endless. So look out for that, and look out for our episode on Friday. you can.
And if you manage to find our episode, if you manage to find our episode on your Explore page or whatever, give us a follow. And, just make sure that you see our little notifications when they pop up and click on it and show us some love. So, yeah.
Tell your friends to follow. Make sure to engage with us in every possible way. Promote us on your page. And like Damahya was saying, we will be having Instagram lives and more posts on our stories right before the release, like leading up to the release of our new episode. So keep your eyes out for those things.
All right, well, that's all for today. See you guys on Friday. That's all. Bye.
Bye.